So, demos. Who's got demos? Siamand, demos.
I can demo the new recipes UI.
Yes. And the YouTube video.
A YouTube field. Yeah.
Recipes, YouTube. Matthias, do you have some demo? No demo for Matthias. Anyone else? Okay. Status first. So let's see, Orchard 1. 12 days ago, so we'll look at 14 days ago because I was estimating for 2 weeks. Fix error in container settings editor. This was merged. Oh, we did a triage, so we merged it. Container settings editor. On this one, which was not refreshing this list view providers, the provider. And this one, fix datetime field settings, while it validating a validation message also was not showing up in some case or was not validating correctly. And this is fixed also. We are showing screens, nothing else. Okay, good. Orchard core. More things here. So 28 days ago, I will look at 14 days. 14 days, we have inventory startup filters. This is to prevent duplicate data protection filters because they're registered in a different way than the other things, and there will be too many instances of them. So we fixed it, and it was merged this morning. We'll see it. Direct workflow invocation from Sipke. This must be a work in progress to be able to link a form to a workflow, a form submission to a workflow, like with the form with a workflow activity or something like that. Then enumeration field from Antoine, we reviewed it and we talked about it, and I think the status is that this PR could just use one of them to update one of the fields. I really don't remember which one, maybe the radio one, I think so, but the other ones will require some changes, deep changes in the settings for fields. Editor settings and display settings, and we talked about it with Siaman also during maybe just no it was just no yes Jasmine and Siaman were here, and somehow Antoine was not here. What happened, Antoine?
I don't know. When was it?
Thursday. Not this one, the one before, but that's fine.
No, I was on vacation.
Okay. Then you are excused. That's fine. Don't worry. It was surprising that only Siaman and Jasmine were here. So we talked about it, and oh yeah, it was a PR from Jasmine and from Antoine. So we'll see how the work progresses on the display and editor settings. We need that. And I'll talk about it again when we see Siaman's YouTube video field, because it's the same issue. This branch filter box view component from Matthias, which is improving the content item view filtering. I'm not sure if this PR is improving the filters or just refactoring to a view component.
I started only refactoring before I do some real improvement.
But the improvements are part of this PR also.
When I fix what you suggested before, I would like to see the PR merged, and then after that start working again over it.
Okay.
I think it's better.
Okay. Agency recipe owner null. I think it was merged. I think so. We'll see. Then Matthias fixed content ownership. This, let's look at the PRs, the branches at least. We'll see it later. So file rename module template, I merged it. Replaces and file rename. Yes, the idea is that this JSON file for the commands and the net commands, the new command, it will look for my test prefix and replace it in the code, but also rename the files called my test something and using the new parameter that is provided. So I merged it. I merged this one, which is removing something which is unused. I commented on this one. There is a PR. The idea is that when the first request comes to a tenant, it will initialize the tenant, meaning loading all the modules and starting them up, and then when everything is loaded, all the middleware and services, then we can answer to the requests. If two requests come to the same site, when to same tenant when it's initializing, the first request will initialize, but the second one will have maybe a 404 or something. So I assume this PR is to return a 503, like unavailable, temporary unavailable. I commented on this PR to maybe change some things or add more things, but that's the idea of this PR. This is just to show how we can improve the experience to be more standard. Hosted service, what is that? This is part of a bigger branch background task, so nothing to say here. Fix related to Lucene, there is a case when a content is publishing but can't sell, maybe for during validation. It will take wrong content, so I changed it to publishing. I think that's the idea. And this one is just to prevent a Lucene index table from rendering wrong HTML if one of the fields doesn't have any value, or it will create an empty one or something like that, and it will not be good. Broken table. JsonApi xunit testing, a lot of changes for the JsonApi tests. I haven't looked at that, so I can't comment, but apparently removed or moved some tests. I look at it. This is a big mistake. I saw that by looking at my emails and seeing that we published 100 and something packages on NuGet.org because someone merged a PR to master. And it's a protected branch, so it requires both approval and merge by an admin. So I assume Nick approved and merged it directly, which is wrong. Nick's not here. Don't do that. Nothing should go to master. This is why you have a default branch, and nothing should be merged in master if it's not a release. So now we have a new package on NuGet.org, which is not an official release. It's bad. And I hope that the new version is, well, I don't know. And maybe the new version number is not even bigger than the previous one, because how, oh, maybe it should be, because it's more digits. Okay, save and continue from Matthias. Did I merge it? Did I merge it? I think so. No, I didn't merge it. Did I comment it? I didn't. Oh, I wanted to see it. Okay. Oh, but now there is, oh, it's very new. Okay. When I went on the PR, there was no thing like this. That's why I wanted to see it. But now there is a GIF to see. Okay. And now there is a save and save draft. And so save draft button and an action button, an action drop down to save and continue, right? Publish and continue. Okay. Okay, that will do. I assume that's fine. Yeah, which is independent from the fact that we will need an automatic save, like save the form in local storage transparently, maybe just showing a warning that it has been saved automatically locally, so that when we come back to this thing, then we find a local version of the form and we can just continue editing it, even if the computer closed or the view was closed or the browser was closed. That could be interesting. So okay, I will match it later, but now it's good. Fine with it. If anyone has comments on that, feel free to do. This one dev, so all the things that were merged this morning, remove the news class. Okay, by Spike, which is not Sipke, be careful. Little fixes related to Lucene, we talked about it, we didn't see this one, it was a PR. Why didn't we see maybe from an external fork, and fixing an exception when you run a recipe to create a file that already exists, and duplicate that operation, we talked about it. This one is new, prevent issues caused by not trim stereotype. Which issues?
When the stereotype was had space, the setting page was not shown.
Yeah, we should validate, because you see there are many things that could be done this way, but maybe it's better to just have good data in stereotype by validating it when we edit it. I think that would be better. To trim it when we bind it to in the driver when we type it. And here, yeah. Because otherwise, if there is an issue with the stereotype, then somewhere else it will also fail, if it's not a valid stereotype.
Yes, when the stereotype is assigned, it should do that automatically as part of the property.
Assign. I don't like it either, because you assign something and it works, but it didn't assign what you assigned. I will just do it when we assign it, we trim it, and not part as the property. I don't like adding more behavior to change the value that we set in a setter, because you do set something, and when you do get, you don't have the same thing. But at least do that when we assign the stereotype from a user input, at least, because that's where it's malicious and it can fail. Okay, then demos. Questions about that? Everyone understands that we need to target dev branch and not master. And yeah, questions, demos. Siaman, so I will add you as a presenter because you have 1.5 demos.
Okay, thank you.
And please forgive me for not being able to join last Tuesday, as I asked you to demo.
Never mind.
My computer was bit locked, so I needed a code to boot my laptop. Actually, it's bit locked every time I reboot now. I don't know why. And my Microsoft password got resetted, so I could not join easily. And I needed a SMS, a text, to be able to log to my with my phone with the 2FA. But I was in the countryside where there was no network. I had internet, but no cell phone. I don't want to give you control. I just want you to share. It's at the bottom, share content.
Yeah, share screen. But the good news is France won the final cup.
It was done already. 2 weeks ago, it was because of the semi-final that we canceled the meeting. Last week, it was because of me not being able to join the meeting.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can all see your screen.
Okay, it's a simple demo about having a UI for running now the setup recipes. When we login into the Orchard dashboard, here in the configuration, there is a new menu, recipes, and here we will see the noun setup recipes. I created two simple recipes, which just change the zones of the website. One of them is let me find the themes. Where are them? Okay, one of them is this one, which just change the zones to footer and logo. Another one is this one, which changed the zones to footer, header, and sidebar. And so this one, recipe sample 2, this one will change the zones to footer, header, and sidebar. And if we take a look at the zones right now, it is just footer. Now I run this one. And OK. And by the way, I changed this one to send post request to the server.
Yep.
Why? Sorry, I have to merge with the other pull request that I made regarding this one.
The exception.
This one, and yeah, this site properties.
Oh, the assignment. It's not add, it's assign, yes.
Yeah, this one. I create a PR now. Let me find it.
I merged it.
Yeah, but I didn't merge it locally. Yeah. It is.
Yeah, this one.
Here. I change it quickly. The property dot name down property dot value. Yes. Sorry for the mistake. And now, meanwhile that it is building, I take a look into the code. The code is simple. It is just, now it's setting. Let me go to recipes. Recipe. Is, where is it? Here. It has a simple controller which shows the list of recipes, noun setup recipes, and an execute, which is I change it to HTTP post and run the recipe. Now I log in. And recipes, and this one. Now it has been run, and if we go to layers, we have 3 zones here: footer, header, and sidebar.
Good.
Now I will run this one, and now we should have 2 zones.
You know, we can change it also in the settings. There is a layer settings. Just.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it.
Yeah,
for,
just maybe you didn't know.
demo.
Okay, that's good. Good demo. Just want to confirm it.
And the other demo is related to video field.
So now you did that about the recipes. That's very good. We had that also in Orchard 1, super useful. 2 improvements, but for the long term, at least one of them. Even for the setup, it would be great if we could have parameters in recipes. And like, for instance, you could type the layer names you would like to add, or I don't know, if you want to create a specific kind of field with lots of options or part, takes a name also, and the recipe can be parameterized, because we have parameters in recipe files, but there is no way to enter in a form the parameters for recipe. So that would be nice to be able to have a UI and parameters in the file with metadata, so that the UI can be built to ask for some data to run the recipes with. And this is also valid for the setup, so we could have a setup experience with different wizard-like UI, like you do next, and it asks questions about what you want to create based on the recipe, and then you run the recipe, and it will use the things you typed in the UI. Azure Portal does it this way. There, if you are familiar with Azure, there is an ARM template, and the ARM template, ARM, Azure Resource Manager template, contains metadata about the fields that the template requires, and then the portal will render a UI to do that. Maybe we could take the ideas, yeah. And there is an issue already I opened for that. Another way would be to use the forms module to be able to provide a form somehow, content item which is a form, and then we could use that and extract the data to pass a recipe. That's more complex than what we need. Maybe just a simple automatic thing from the admin will work. So that's an idea, and we could use it from setup and also from this recipe screen, even if it's also multiple steps to provide data. We'll see. That's an idea. Second comment about recipes is that you saw the code to execute a recipe is super simple. That would be awesome to have recipes as migrations. I also already talked about it in a previous meeting, but we'll need recipes as migrations. So we can write a migration in a recipe file instead of having code for migrations. That would be also very useful. When we want to create content metadata, it's harder to do it by code than doing it by a recipe. So later also. That's it. Thank you.
Welcome. And the other one is about the YouTube field. It's a simple field just for YouTube video. I have to change the branch for that one.
So the little story I have about this YouTube field video is that it was actually called video field before it was called YouTube video field. But the video field had things specific to YouTube and was not very generic. A recommendation from Antoine was to actually be compatible with OEmbed videos, and then just be compatible with any OEmbed media file. An OEmbed media file is just a resource on the internet that returns some metadata about how to render the media. So you just send a specific header with the request to the media when you have the URL. For instance, when you have the URL of the YouTube video, you send some headers with the request, and it, instead of answering with the page rendering the video, it will just return a JSON document or an XML document with some metadata about how to embed the video in your site or to get the HTML to render the video. And most of the media, video, images websites support this protocol, and we have a field like this in Orchard 1 we have support for that in Orchard 1 to import a video like this, and then a video field should be an OEmbed video field. So we could paste a YouTube video and it will just work with YouTube, or if you go on 500px, it will just work to on Flickr and everything would work. But we didn't have the settings that we needed also for displaying the things with the field, and this is related to the enumeration field PR from Jasmine, which is also missing field settings, but display settings. So there are display settings, there are edit settings that we need to add to the fields to make them generic and reusable. So in this case, I just asked Siaman to create a YouTube video field, which is specific to YouTube. There is no custom display settings, it's just a YouTube video, and that will work. I think YouTube is ubiquitous enough that we can take it in the core code right now, and later when we have the generic one with OEmbed, we can remove it in favor for the OEmbed one.
Yes, thanks for the description. And actually, the idea was, I guess, voting on this. That should we use it or not? Or should be part of the core? And it is simple field, just has some settings. We can add more settings to it specifically for YouTube videos. I just add the field to the page content type, and now I save it and create a new page. Let me find a YouTube. Okay, I don't know this one. I stop it, and where is the share? Embed. Right here. Oh. I copy paste this one to here and name it as just title, simple title, and
that's where that you have to paste the thing, extract something from the share. I will just have to paste the YouTube URL.
Yeah, that would be a nice improvement, or just providing this one,
yeah,
YouTube
that's
ID,
weird.
and create a
or you use the OEmbed protocol, and people just paste the YouTube URL, and you ask YouTube what is the embed URL, because that's very easy to do on your you see, when in the driver, you could get the official YouTube URL that the user will paste very easily from Chrome, and you do the call to YouTube to get this URL.
Yeah, that would be good. Nice improvement. Makes sense. Yeah, I can do it.
Because otherwise, that's weird to have to go to share and then extract something.
Yes.
You wouldn't ask an editor to do that. Okay, but
yeah,
go on.
Quite makes sense. Yeah.
I didn't see this thing.
Okay, and now if I preview it, the YouTube
okay, with the size that you provided.
Yes. Here in the settings of content type.
Okay, I will comment on the PR, and I will also check that we have classes so we can customize per theme how it's rendered, even if there is no width and height.
It should use the default one. Okay, I will change it to use the embedded, and if user simply drop a URL, YouTube URL, and the driver updates the creates the real embed URL for it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so I have nothing to show. I didn't do much, didn't even join the meetings. I was on vacation, but I came back, so now I should be more productive. I started working on taxonomies, though I talked about it 2 weeks ago on the Thursday meeting, and I made some progress, so I should be able to have a demo next week. of some of the taxonomies module working. It's actually not that much work. And I will show you when I have something to show. Questions about today's meeting? Or other questions, topics, concerns?
Maybe Jasmin can demo the enumeration field or the culture settings PR.
Oh, culture settings. Do you want to show the culture settings, Jasmin?
Yeah, I can do that. Maybe give me some time. I just need to.
Nope.
Okay.
I already commented on the PR, but we can see it working to see.
I need to change the branch, and I have a lot of stuff there. I'm going to stash this.
Maybe I have another topic.
Go.
About 3 weeks ago, there has been an announcement about Azure static hosting.
Yes.
So you asked, can we host the documentation on our website?
I did.
And I answered on the issue, and I made a test. I will try to find the URL.
Yes, and you answered that, but how do we start it automatically, because it doesn't support that?
Yes.
Which I answered that we could use the CI to do that.
Yes, and I did.
You did it?
Yes, I managed to do it.
How do you, well, you did it in our CI?
No.
I didn't. Okay.
Using mine.
Okay, because to try. Okay, you tried it with a custom step with AppVeyor or something like that. Okay, and it works. Okay, show us the link.
Wait, yes.
Beautiful.
And I tried docfx. I don't remember exactly what I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you tried many things, not just the documentation, but
yes.
Okay.
It's building. It's building.
Good. So what I should do then is send me an email with what you want me to create on the Azure subscription. Like if I need just to create a storage account or a container in an existing storage account. And then I will do it and give you access. Or no, you don't need anything. You don't even need access. You just need a specific Azure storage account to be created. You need the credentials in some environment variable on AppVeyor that are encrypted, which I can give you, and you can just make a PR for that, right?
Maybe. And
I think so.
Choosing not a DNS but a subdomain.
Yeah, we can do that later, because we can just first start to render the site, and then when it's rendered, we just configure the storage to use a specific name and then configure the DNS, but that's independent. We can already start generating it. So if you just need a container, tell me if you just need a container or a new storage account. That's what I wanted to do. And then you generate it. It's also HTTPS here. And that's not using the theme you wanted, but you managed to make it work, so that's good.
And I use the VSTS account online.
What does it mean?
I use the build definition on.
So you use VSTS CI and not AppVeyor.
Yes, exactly.
But, okay. How long does it take to render the site?
It's long. It's long because it tries to use Python, so it's long. It's not optimized.
Okay, we can try and see how long it takes on AppVeyor if Python is already pre-installed.
Okay.
And in worst case, we can create another CI task, which is independent from the main build. That's doable too. Okay, that's good. And yeah, and we'll also try with the theme you wanted to use instead.
Maybe if we specify a requirement, it will do it.
Require what?
We add a requirements.txt, it will use the theme we specify.
Okay. Good news. Thank you very much. Okay, Jasmin, you were showing something.
Yeah, I was just checking if it was still working right.
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Oh my god. Oh no. Sorry, you have to share again. I was not sharing when I opened the page, but now you can share again. Sorry.
Thank you.
I haven't been in a meeting for 2 weeks, so I don't know how it works anymore.
Can you show? Can you see it?
Not yet. Yeah, that's good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we have.
So there's a module here which is localization. Before it was used for just enabling to be able to have PO files. Now we added the filter settings for Orchard. So if I disable this and I go to the settings general, you don't see anything for setting the culture of the current tenant. If I enable it, you're going to be able to see the culture, the default culture setting here, and you can also add.
Can you click on the drop down?
This here?
No, before. This drop down, default culture. What's the drop down?
Oh, this one, yeah. I kept on variant language because by default.
The question is, if I just enable on my box, what's the list of elements here?
You're going to have just invariant language.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Else is installed. Yeah, I can show you that. Here. Since this is the default, it won't delete this one, but yeah. I can just change it to invariant, save. And now you just reload the tenant. And you go back to the settings here, you will be able to remove it. Because this is the way that the middleware works. You need to reset the tenant.
Restart when you save. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's, but yeah. So
this is the common scenario that we have because we don't have a setup right now.
So you either need to display something saying saving will restart your tenant, or display something saying you need to restart your tenant to take.
Yeah, here. Yeah.
This, or when you select the default also.
Yeah, true. I think no. The default culture is.
No, I mean.
Yeah.
You sure?
It's just when you had or delete culture that you need to reset the.
I see.
Tenant. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So once they're installed, it's working. Yeah, this is it. The other part that is missing is adding setup, adding it in the setup to be able to have a
recipe step.
Yeah, recipe step.
Okay.
It's more like a
setup, no, but a recipe step, yes.
Yeah, because normally we have this as a hand US. The UI is all built in hand US, so I think we should maybe have hand US as the default.
Okay.
We keep the invariant language there because.
And does it work?
It could happen. Yeah, it works.
So it sets the current thread UI culture to this value, the ASP.NET current thread.ui culture, using the culture selector, and then the UI in the views will take whatever value is set.
Oh yeah, let me show you.
And you try it with the local files, and so for instance with a date time which is rendered, or a numeric format, or a currency, and then also with text localization.
Yeah, let me show you. I mean, the UI there should work with when you do something like culture UI equals FR.
So this is standard ASP.NET.
Those things should work.
I mean, the request thing, the query string you just typed is coming from ASP.NET because there is a URL provider, a query string provider. That will extract.
Provider, yeah, the only one that I have not added is the accept header language request provider.
That's fine, but this is handled by ASP.NET.
Yeah.
But now you created another provider which will take whatever setting is set.
Yeah, we created a default culture provider. Yeah, just to be able to set the default culture of Archer.
Yes. So there's a provider to set the default culture, and there could be other providers that will take it also dynamically from another way. So then I don't understand something from your PR. You made a culture selector.
Yeah, it's not used anymore because we're using the middleware now. It's doing the same thing. We had in O1 a culture selector, but the culture selector is not.
But in O1 in ASP.NET MVC5 there was nothing such like culture providers in ASP.NET. It was not existing, so we had to provide a provider, and this is why we have culture selectors. All the selectors are or culture provider, they are providers. But in ASP.NET Core there is that already, so we can provide providers. There is one for query string, there is one from the header, there is one from the browser, but you just created another one from site settings. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
So why do we create a culture selector? Because we can just create a culture provider that will take it from the site settings.
I've done this like 3 weeks ago. I'm searching.
Okay, I will comment on the PR because I assume that the extensibility here is unnecessary because there is already some extensibility in ASP.NET Core.
Yeah, this one is not used anymore. I could delete it if I remember.
No, default time zone. No, not default time zone.
Not time zone. Yeah, it's not. But if I have default culture selector, it's not required anymore.
Okay, I will check the code.
I'm just searching here. We did something in either the settings module or the localization module, where it's we have this in the start.
Yes, because I assume it should just be.
Yeah, it's here.
It should be complementary to the existing providers. Okay, exactly. I see. New, and then your module will just add another one.
Yeah, exactly.
With a priority because they have also priority. Okay.
And we created Jean-Thierry created something to just be able to have to order them, order request codes for providers, so we can order it. Yeah.
Okay, I will check that.
Yeah.
And also try if it works and how it works to understand. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So next from Siaman or from Jasmine is the. Oh, I know. Jasmine will do the field the field editor settings, and Siaman will do the display settings, the field display settings. That will be beautiful because you both need that. Okay, but I will have to teach you first if I don't do it first, because yeah, that will be awesome. We need that. Okay, that's great. Thanks a lot to both of you for the demos and the work you did. Okay, good. Everyone knows what's next then to do. Antoine needs to send me what he needs for me to create on the Net Foundation to be able to host our own documentation. Okay, good. Other questions, topics? Antoine, the master of topics. You noticed that the websites were down because the HTTP certificate was not valid anymore. But because of my machine could not work, I could not do it. So I did it as soon as I joined my desk this morning. Now it's fixed. What else? That's it on my side. Good. Okay, so next meeting on Thursday for the triage. We'll have lots of work because 2 weeks of no triage. My God. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday or next Tuesday. Bye bye.